Hi, this is a video about expanding brackets, and this knowledge obviously is applicable to year 9, 10 and 11, and even some 11 pluses sometimes require students to know how to expand a bracket. Okay, we start with the simplest form is that if you have a number outside the bracket, okay, when we expand this bracket, we multiply what is outside the bracket to the first term, each one is term, and at all these times we also have to think about the signs as well and the sign rule. So this one is plus, really they don't write it, but it's a plus, and this is a plus. Plus times plus is a plus, and 2 times x is 2x. Having done the multiplication to the first term, then you multiply the number or whatever is outside the bracket to the second term. Plus times plus is plus, and 2 times 4 is 8. As you noticed, I do multiply the signs first. In mathematics, always multiply the sign first and then do the whatever multiplication you have to do. Okay, so the first type, you got something outside the bracket, you multiply the sign first and multiply to the first term, and then multiply the second term. Equally, if I have minus 2 times minus y plus 5. Expanding this bracket, we talked about that we multiply the signs first. So I'm saying minus times minus is going to give me plus. 2 times y is 2y. Minus times plus is minus. 2 times 5 is 10. So we notice in the second example, it is very important that we, from the first one, we multiply the signs first. Otherwise, we'll have problems. So this is the basic ones when we have one item outside the bracket, and then in the bracket we have two terms. Okay, multiplying sign first, and then we multiply the term outside to the first term and then the second. Another one is that if you have x times 2x minus 6. As you know, in mathematics we don't write the sign of the first term, so this is a plus and this is a plus. As always, we multiply the sign first. Plus times plus is plus. There's no number here, so 2 stays, and x times x will give you x squared. I hope, for especially year 9 ones, that they know that multiplying 2 terms, so if you have t powers t to the power of 3, if it's a multiplication, we write the base and add the powers. It's basic rule. So if you have y to the power of 2 times y to the power of 5, we write the base and add the powers. Okay, of course in year 9 you have only multiplication rule and the division rule, but of course the multiplication rule here in expansion of brackets is important. Okay, so I multiplied the sign first, number second, and then we have the unknowns. X times x is x squared because it's x 1 plus 1. Okay, now I'm going to the second term, multiplying my term outside to the second term. Plus times minus is a minus, and then 6x. Okay, so multiplying sign first, and then first term to first, the term outside to the first term, the term outside to the second. So what about minus 3x multiplied by x minus 4? I'm multiplying this. X carries a sign, we don't write it, but it's a plus. First of all, minus times plus gives you minus, and then 3, there's no number, so 3 stays, and x times x is x squared. Okay, then I'm multiplying the term outside to the second term inside the bracket. Minus times minus is 12 plus minus times plus is plus, and 3 times 4 the numbers, and then the unknown is x. Okay, so this type of the expanding bracket, the basic ones you should have known by now. Then we move to the two brackets multiplication. Okay, for example, you have x plus 4 times x plus 5. How do we multiply two brackets? Again, this both carry a plus sign. We don't write this plus at the first term in mathematics, but it's very important to realize that. So I'm going to dissect this one, and I said first is have the first term. My first term is plus x, and I write the second bracket as it is. Okay, so I multiply my first term to the bracket, the second bracket, then I also write the second term in the first bracket to the second bracket. So by doing this, I make it very simple. Look, I wrote the first term to the second bracket, then I write the second term, which is plus 4, to the second bracket. Having done that, then I come back to what we know already from the first two examples, right? Now we can expand this, because again, carry on the sign. X plus times plus is plus x squared plus 5x plus 4x and plus 20. Okay, so I've got two brackets I want to multiply, and I want the rule that always helps me to multiply any two brackets. I'm going to write the first term of the first bracket to all of the second bracket. Then also I'm going to write the second term in the first bracket to the second bracket. And now, because this goes to the way we started with, we can multiply this, because it's x squared plus 5x plus 4x plus 20. Simplifying this one, x squared stays because there is no other x squared in here, so I'm going to leave it. 5x plus 4x is plus 9x, and the 20 stays, and that's your answer. Okay, so we're learning about multiplication of two brackets. First term inside the first bracket times second bracket. Then we write the second term inside the first bracket to the second bracket. And of course, at all this time, we are aware of the sign. In here is all positive, so it's not much of a difficulty really. So x times x, x squared, 5 times x is 5x, 4x plus 20. But of course, at all times, once you finish the expansion, you have to simplify. Okay? So we write another one which is different signs. For example, if I write x minus 7 times x minus, I'm going to write 2x minus 1. The good thing about the whole of the mathematics is that once you get the fundamental rules, it is going to be applicable to all of the questions. Okay, we're going to follow this route. We said that first term is plus x, correct, times the second bracket, that's 2x minus 1. Second term is what? Minus 7, the second term. So I'm going to write minus 7 and second bracket again. Correct? Okay, now we got this far. I'm going to multiply. This is like the ones we've done before at the first place. They're easy. So plus x times plus 2x is a plus 2x squared. Plus times minus gives you minus. X times 1 becomes x. In here, this 2 also carries a plus. Minus times plus is a minus. 7 times 2 is 14, and x stays. The last one is a minus times minus is a plus. 7 times 1 is 7. And like the question before, once we expanded the brackets, we simplify. There are only one x2x squared here, right? Then I've got minus 14x minus x. This is the same sign rule. When you have same signs, we keep the sign and add the numbers. This carries a 1 in here. Minus 14 minus 1 is minus 15x. So The same sign rule in sign rules. I'll have a video about sign rules just in case you're not familiar with it. You have to be very proficient in this area. When you have same signs, we keep the sign and add numbers. The last one, 7, there's no other number, so the answer will be okay. So how we do two brackets is that when expanding two brackets, we put the first term, which is a plus x, multiply to the second bracket. Also, we write the second term, which is a minus 7, to the second bracket. From here it's very easy because we learned from the first two examples that just expand one term to the bracket, we multiply, and at all these times we use the sign rule. Very important. We use the sign rule for multiplication first, and when we finish, you can see that we use the sign rule for addition. When we have the same sign, we add the numbers, and that's how we do it. But they might be having other questions as well, so I'm going to do another example for you for expansion of brackets. So far we had 4 examples, right? How about if you have something a little bit bigger but still follows the same rule? And I'm going to say x minus 4 times 2x plus 1. Okay? Mathematically speaking, they can just write another one for you. X plus 1 times x plus 3. Okay? And they say expand bracket and simplify. Normally always ask expanding bracket and simplify. So this time I'm going to write this first term times the second bracket, second term times the second bracket, right? That's the first one. Then I've got another one. First term times the second bracket, second term times the second bracket. Okay, so this time we have 2 of them, but we follow the same rules, and we put the first term times the second bracket, second term times the second bracket. Similarly, first term, second bracket, second term, second bracket. I'm just expanding now. This is easy. Plus times plus is 2x squared plus x. Minus times plus is minus 8x minus 4. And this one is plus times plus is, so therefore plus x squared plus 3x. The last one is plus, so it stays the same thing. Multiplying 1 to those brackets. Okay? Now we can add likes by likes. So 2x squared plus x squared, right? That gives you 3x squared. Then I have 1x minus 8x, that's minus 7x. Opposite signs we subtract. Then we got another 4x here as well. So minus 7x plus 4x. We keep the sign of a bigger number and subtract. 4 from 7 gives you minus 3x. Okay? If you have any doubt about the sign rules, go to the previous video I've made about sign rules, please. But you should be 100% okay with this and have no problem. Minus 4 plus 3 again. So minus 4 plus 3 is the opposite sign rule. Keep the sign of a bigger number and subtract. So, and that's the answer. Okay? So this example wasn't any different from the previous example, but also obviously we had 2 of them, 2 lots. And you have to be able to multiply each and then expand and then simplify. It's always say expand and simplify. Of course, the bread and butter of mathematics is about the questions and exercises and the repetition. If you do at least 50 of these ones, at least, then you will remember them without hesitation. If you do just 5 or 6, you might think you are right and you don't have to do more. But as a matter of fact, come to the exam when you're a little bit nervous, you will hesitate. You're not 100% sure how to do these ones, and therefore the chance of making mistakes very high. And that's the difference with the student who gets an A and those who get much lower marks. Please do all the exercises that are in your books and more in the internet. Okay, so we done two types already. The first type was a number and a bracket. The second one was an unknown and a bracket, and then we done two brackets. Okay, these are the types that we've done already with the examples. Now I'm going to go for the third type of the question. This type of questions is how to do a squared bracket. Okay, so if you have a square bracket, x plus 3 squared, of course we got to be at the year 9. You should know what the square number means. If I have 2 squared, that means the base multiplied by itself, whatever the base is multiplied by itself. If I have x squared, that means the base, which is x times itself. Okay, that's the meaning of square numbers. In here I have a bracket squared, and therefore automatically, because from what you've learned before, that means x plus 3 times itself. Okay, so the meaning of a square numbers means that a base multiplied by itself. In here the base is x plus 3 in a bracket, so that multiplied by itself. But look, here is the same thing as we learned before. So I'm going to say, well, that's not very difficult. I'm going to multiply the first term to the second bracket, right? And then I multiply the second term to the second bracket. And now I'm going to expand it here very fast. X squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. Simplifying this expression is that it's going to be x squared plus 6x plus 9. Okay? So actually you can see this rule that we said about two brackets applies here, because I know this squared means base multiplied by itself. So that's x plus 3 times x plus 3. So this was the first type we learned. This was the second time we learned. This is the third type we learned. And now the fourth type is a square bracket. We can expand that by multiplying to itself. Okay? Alright. Now we move on to another type we should know by year 9. And of course, this expanding brackets is everywhere. It's in GCSE Foundation and also GCSE Higher. The question can be in all of these 3 years, 9, 10, and 11. Okay? The third part is that when we have 3 brackets, how are we going to do that? X plus 4, x plus 1, and I write 1 minus x plus 3. Okay? We're going to be able to expand 3 brackets. We already know about these 4 types: number outside the bracket and unknown outside the bracket. How did we do 2 brackets, and then we did the square of a brackets, then because we knew this is also is same as this, because that's x plus 5 times itself, 2 brackets. When you have 3 brackets and you want to expand the brackets, you have to first expand the first 2 brackets first, and then we can multiply to the third bracket. Okay, so shall we quickly say x plus 4 times x plus 1 first, okay, equals. So that's the expression. This is a separate expression, first 2. I'm multiplying this first times x plus 1 plus 4 times x plus 1, right? So I'm trying to find these 2 first. So x times x is x squared plus x plus 4x plus 4, and therefore I'm going to end up with simplifying this as x squared plus 5x plus 4, right? So what I've did was that I've multiplied the first 2 brackets first with the same rule that we learned from the type 3, multiplying the first term to the second bracket and the second term to the second bracket. Now of course, once we expanded it, we have to simplify. Having simplified it, we got x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now if I substitute the first 2 with what I've got, I'm going to have that x squared plus 5x plus 4 multiplied to the second bracket. Okay? Now this is something new now. We have two brackets multiplication, but one of them have 3 terms. But the good news is that we still do the same thing that we've done with 2 brackets. I'm going to put this one first because I can write this as x minus 3 times x squared plus 5x plus 4. Doesn't make any difference if you swap them around. So I'm going to follow the method that I've learned about this type number 3 here. Okay, first term, second bracket. So first term, second bracket, it'll be plus x times x squared plus 5x plus 4. I'm saying that, okay, what we learned was we multiply the first term to the second bracket, then also I'm going to write the second term to the second bracket. And from the first 2 examples, we should be able to do that. Look, multiplying signs, plus times plus, multiplying plus times plus is plus x to the power of 3. Why is it x to the power of 3? Because if you write x times x to the power of 2, this x carries a power of 1. We don't write it. I think it's not sure. I'm going to write it here. So x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 2 is the law, first law of indices. You keep the base, add numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's why I wrote x to the power of 3. Okay? X times plus 5 is 5x squared, and plus x times 4 is plus 4x. I'm doing the same thing that we learned when we were expanding the type 3. We've got type 1, 2, and 3. And then I've got to minus 3 down, multiplying to this bracket. Minus times plus is a minus. Minus times plus is a minus. And minus times plus is a minus. Now, of course, whenever you expand, you are expected to simplify. Most of the questions do say expand and simplify. Oh, any of x to the power of 3 is only 1. So I'm going to write this equals x to the power of 3. Power of 2 is I've got 5x squared minus 3x squared. So that obviously gives me 2x squared. I'm going to get rid of it. And x's we have minus 15 plus 4. When we have opposite signs, we keep the sign of the bigger number and subtract. So 15 or 4 gives you 11x. And the numbers only, there's one number. Here is minus 12. And that's our answer. So we've got to be able to do 3 brackets. Okay, if you've got 3 brackets, first multiply the first 2 brackets with the same method that we learned in questions type 3. Example number type 3. We expanded it by first term times second bracket, second term times second bracket, and simplified. We got x squared plus 5x plus 4. Then obviously we substitute the first 2 with one bracket. And I put the first bracket first, this bracket, second bracket first. Now I'm saying that I'm going to follow the same method as before. And I'm going to multiply x to the second bracket, but this time my second bracket has 3 terms in it. Then I'm going to multiply my second term to the second bracket. And then from here is the first 2 rules apply. I'm multiplying. Don't forget we do signs first. This first one is all easy because plus multiplied by plus. So when I said this is x cubed, why is it x cubed? Because when you write x times x squared, x carries a power. And the first law indices tells you that if you have multiplication, you keep the base, which is x, and add the powers. So 2 plus 1 is 3. X cubed plus 5x squared plus 4x. Then you got this minus, which multiplied to plus. So all of them will be minus. Minus 3x squared minus 15x minus 12. Having done that, obviously we have to simplify. And it's very easy. X cubed is only 1, so we just write in there. 5x squared minus 3x squared is 2x squared. Then we have minus 15x plus 4x. Minus 15 plus 4 is opposite sign. Keep the sign of a bigger number and subtract, and number is itself. Okay, so in expansion of brackets we learn these four, and then type 5 when we have 3 brackets. Okay, so we have 3 brackets, and this is how we do it. Okay, all right, now I want you to challenge you with the only other type that you might see but not recognize. So if I write x minus 1 and then you write x plus 5 squared, it doesn't look like any of those that we have, but all I can see that this one, we've had the x plus 5 squared before, that types when they square. So really this one means that we have x minus 1 times x plus 5 multiplied by itself twice, right? So because we know how to expand this second type, so we go for that one first. I'm going to write x plus 5 times x plus 5. Okay, of course the ability of students at the year 11 should be different a little bit. By year 11 you should be able to do it straight away, but I'm going to go for the year 9 business, and I'm going to say plus x times second bracket, second term times second bracket, and I'm going to expand this x squared plus 5x plus 5x and plus 25. So the whole thing, if I simplify this, is x squared plus 10x plus 25. So for the last 2 brackets, I can put this one instead. So I'm ending up with x minus 1 times x squared plus 10x plus 25. Okay, and of course we follow the same rule as before. We got 2 brackets multiplication. We write the first term times all of the second bracket, and the second term is a minus 1. We don't write at the same time, but when we don't write, it still means minus 1. Okay, and of course this is very easy to expand. This is very much similar to the first 2 examples we had today. So x times x squared is x to the power of 3 plus 10 to the power of x2, right, plus 25x. Now minus multiplies to everything, is a 1 doesn't change, but signs will change. Okay, when you go, of course, whenever you expand, we simplify. X squared is only 1. 10x squared minus x squared will be 9x squared. Okay, we got 25x minus 10x obviously is 15x, and the numbers, there's only one number. Okay, all right, and that's everything that you should know about the expansion of brackets. That's to carry you from year 9, 10 and 11. I hope this video explains all the different examples of the expansion of brackets and how you deal with it, please. And if you do a bit of a practice to master all the knowledge which is based in this video, you will always be very good at expanding brackets and simplification. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you for the next lesson.